Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Sunday, and here we go. Want to go through some of the things. Can't say it's the stuff I purchased this week because I haven't listened to it yet. I did find some really interesting things this week. But first off, I don't know if you can hear this in the background. Just hold on. You feel Clint Eastwood coming on? You think you're in Italy? You got an Italian Western happening? Right here. Lindi Ortega is from, this is from, it's her CD she just put out this year. Yes, it's a CD. Why? Because, you know what, you can find them at really good prices. You know, I was unfamiliar with Lindi Ortega. So, you know, I could buy a record for $20 or a CD for $10. I don't know about this person. I listened to a few samples. I thought, well, let me just go the CD route on here, and it is really, it's really neat. I like it. She's from Canada. She was born and raised in the Toronto area. Been down to Nashville. In Canada, she had the nickname Indie Lindy because, you know, she was having a hard time getting record contracts, and she's kind of floating around. She's working with a lot of different people. She sang backup for Brandon Flowers of The Killers when he was going around. She's let's see, Irish, Mexican descent, and so that's what makes, you know, this CD here. What's interesting is it has a lot of this Italian Western type feel. Also, some of the songs would work perfectly with Chris Isaak singing on it. He has that kind of guitar, you know, that low, trembly sounding guitar. She does even a song in Spanish on here. This is a really fun CD. I had, you know, bought it, you know, since bought it on Amazon, I got it download free, so I'd been listening to it all week and truly enjoyed it. So, in Lindi Ortega, and it's called Liberty. Worth checking out. So, hey, we're talking about Canada, right? All right. So, I got this one here. It's still rap because, again, I've been listening to it all week on my downloads. This is Whitney Rose. Whitney Rose, and it's her debut, Heartbreaker of the Year. And she was from Canada, born on Prince Edward Island, and her mother and grandparents raised her, and they owned this bar. And what she would do is her favorite, she liked Hank Williams, and her favorite song was I Got a Tear in My Beer. So when the bar would be full, she would go down there and she would sing I Got a Tear in My Beer for all the people. And she'd get a buck or two. How about that? And so it'd be really crowded. She'd crawl out of bed, go down and sing I Got a Tear in My Beer. And the very last song on this is I Got a Tear in My Beer from Hank Williams. Wonderful debut. I'd shown her latest, one of her albums just recently, but I hadn't done this one. So again, I bought it on CD to hear it. She worked with, she was backup for the Mavericks. And on this one, Raul Malo, the lead singer of the Mavericks, helps produce it. And they do this great song, the Ronettes, Be My Baby. So her and Raul from the Mavericks do Be My Baby. It's really another very fun album. The Devil Borrowed My Boots. What a great song title, and it's a really fun song. You know, if you haven't listened to Whitney Rose, this is the second thing I bought from her. I had this album, then I bought this. I've loved them both. So there we go. We got a couple Canadians. Hey, what about more Canada? You're saying, is there anything else happening that I should listen to from Canada? Well, look at that. I got me another Gordon Lightfoot. And if you've been watching the videos, I've really been going after these older Gordon Lightfoots. This is from 1968. This is Back Here on Earth. This is his final one he did with United Artists, and then he switched over. So it has that nice old United Artists. You know, you never know if you're looking at that right on there. That's kind of neat. This one had, the big song on here was The Circle is Small. You'll hear that on some various compilations. really good Gordon Lightfoot album. Yeah, I really have been enjoying. You know, he's gone a little more country now, and he's getting more into that country folk from the straight folk. But this is from 1968, so I was happy to find that. So that's kind of my starting off here. Go Canada! Hey Canucks! Eh? We got some great music going on. I had one other CD I got from Amazon while I was out. Again, I've been listening to it from my download, so I haven't unwrapped it yet. Chuck Berry at the Fillmore. This was a 1967 concert that he did with the Steve Miller Band. This is like $5 on Amazon, okay? How could you go wrong? I could buy vinyl for 20 or buy this for 5 and listen to it. You know, I do save money once in a while. I honestly do. You know, Steve Miller Band is the backing band in 1967. This thing rocks. Wow. Yeah, well, you know what? The one thing I don't like is he does the Muddy Waters song on here, Hoochie Coochie Man. He's just not Hoochie Coochie Man. Maybe he thought he was. But they really go into a lot of different things. The Steve Miller Band's allowed to do soloing and expand their music on here. So Chuck Berry, live at the Fillmore East, 1967. Fantastic looking artwork. You know, that kind of does you no good when you got all that glare on there. I'd like to find a poster of this thing. Fun album. Give it a shot. Okay, so let's get to some of the albums that I've been listening to this week. These are ones I purchased maybe in the last month or so. Finally getting around to. First one, let's go on. Hey, I got some funk. We got James Brown, Cold Sweat. This is the stereo version. Funny thing is, after I bought it, I go, oh, damn, I had the mono version. Didn't check Discogs on there. You know, who doesn't like James Brown? Well, maybe not everyone's on a King. Oh my God, I dropped my record. And I dropped the cat on there. Look at that. Son of a gun. Sorry, James Brown. Okay, maybe that's why I don't show labels. And now the cat's going, what the hell's going on? All right, so you get excited. Cold Sweat. You know, that's like his first, wow, we found the funk, man, and here we go. And then you get to the rest. He does like Fever, Mona Lisa, Nature Boy, Come Rain or Shine. There's no funk. It goes back to soul. So it was the start of funk. And what happened is he did Cold Sweat Part 1 on side 1, Cold Sweat Part 2 on side 2. Those really took off. And I think that kind of all of a sudden got, hey man, people want funk. And so his albums turned more funky after this one. So, you know, those are important hits, but, you know, regretfully, a lot of the other stuff's a little bit slower on the album, a little more soul. If that's the part of James Brown you like, then you can't go wrong with that one. The other James Brown one I just got recently is Revolution of the Mind. Look at James Brown's locked up in jail. Was this like foreshadowing of the future? I'm not sure. I love James Brown, but he really began getting a little bit crazy later on. But tons of rock and roll stars get crazy later on, right? Okay, you know, that's just part of the rock and roll lifestyle on this one. This is a live album. It's his third live album. This is from 1971. It has all the hits. The thing is, it's not edited well. I mean, the audience is having a really good time on here. I mean, they're loud. It's a little too loud, almost distracting, the women screaming and everything. One song, 15 minutes long, and oh man, which one? Oh, Make It Funky. Make It Funky lasts for 15 minutes long because he goes around and he asks every member in the band, where are you from? Where are you from? And then they have to tell him where they're from, and then he says something else, and then he goes to the next one, where are you from? And for 15 minutes this goes on. So, you know, that took care of one whole side of James Brown asking, where are you from? Still, James Brown live, not live at the Apollo though, but it was a fun pickup, didn't cost a ton of money. All right, who's next? You're saying, well, Steve, Haven't you heard Who's Next before? I have heard Who's Next before, but this was found it there. You know, I didn't own it on vinyl. I think I have 2 CD versions. I have the regular one and then an expanded version. But in there at a record store, and I'm going to try not to drop this like the last one or drop the cat on there. This is an original pressing off Decca. Look at that. They have that nice pretty rainbow from Decca on here. You know what I always find interesting about this album is Peter Townsend was working on another rock opera, Lighthouse. But he had a nervous breakdown, and so it kind of stopped. So some of the selections from here, from that rock opera, Lighthouse. That's why this really isn't themed. It goes all over the place. This is the album where they got loud. I mean, this is loud. You play it loud. It has the and Pete Townsend, someone gave him a synthesizer. He goes, well, this is kind of fun. And away it went. You know, Bob O'Reilly, You Won't Get Fooled Again. The nice thing about this album is, you know, it's the one you sing to. This is like air guitar classic 101. If you haven't done air guitar, I could probably do a video on that someday. I think I'm pretty dang good at it. You put this one on and you will air guitar all over the place. He does have a couple, you know, softer songs on here, but a lot of it's loud and it's great, and it's my very favorite Who album. And you know, I just like the fact that they took a whiz on a rock. I think that's also kind of neat. I'm easily entertained. Let me entertain you. All right, how about this one? Little Feat. I'm not an expert on Little Feat. Their first 3 albums are, you know, considered rock classics. This came out in 1977. It was their live album on here with Little Feat. These guys were alive. They were a great jam band. They were kind of past their prime when they did this live album. That's what a lot of people would say, or consider a little bit past their prime. Still, they have the hits. It's great. It's a fun listen to. You know, it's a happy album. No real sad songs on there. The synthesizer or organ kind of takes over once in a while. It sounds actually a little cheesy, I thought, but you know, I'm trying to get more into Little Feat and learn a little bit more about them. I kind of missed them. You know, growing up in the 70s, I didn't hear them on the radio. Obviously, the Nebraska station wasn't playing them that I listened to, but live album, very nice. Okay, replacements. I have Hootenanny here. This is a repress from a few years ago on there. I have a lot of replacements, a box set, but I didn't have this on vinyl. They were starting to mature, though. Most of the songs are still kind of joke songs on here. They're still fairly snotty. They're a little bit sloppy on here, but they're getting better. You could tell they're improving from, sorry, Ma, forgot to take out the trash on there. So, you know, they're starting to learn what they're doing. You know, they have great songs like Take Me Down to the Hospital, Treatment Bound, Hootenanny. So, you know, you can see they're still screwing around a lot, but that's what, you know, the replacements are about. A lot of fun party type music. So, Hootenanny. All right, and I don't have as much to show this week, so how about that? I was gone a lot of the week. All right, picked this up at my local store, Radio Wasteland. It's the Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. This is the live album from 1979. You know, some of these companies now are reissuing stuff. Hey, look at that. Look how young they look. Isn't that something, huh? Isn't that amazing? You know, I think we all miss Tom Petty. He made a lot of great music. Obviously, from 1979, really nice live album. Sounds fantastic. And since it's from that time, you have all those early Petty hits. And, you know, he does this, the very last, you know, the last side on it. It's a 2-album set. He does, you know, I Fought the Law. Not quite the Clash version. The very last song is Route 66. Get your kicks on Route 66. Neat version. I mean, I really enjoyed that. It was happy, it was joyful. It was a lot of fun to hear them jam on this one. Yeah, the The side 4 had a lot of, they weren't the hits, just some of these covers that they did, which was really, you know, again, what I found fascinating about this album. So Live Pit, this Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, Torpedoes in Texas, the Houston Broadcast, 1979. All right, well worth a listen. Got another Bad Company. I did not own this Bad Company on CD, and I did not own it on album, obviously. It's Straight Shooter. I mean, this is their second album. 1975, I believe this one came out, and it had on here Shooting Star is their big one, and Feel Like Making Love. Shooting Star and Feel Like Making Love, both on side 1. Very good. Bad Company, I mean, their first one's the best. If you don't know Bad Company, just get their greatest hits, and I think you'll be totally satisfied. But nice listen to, really inexpensive to get. And then there was a little AC/DC. I've owned this on CD for many years, and suddenly I saw a very nice copy sitting in a record store on here. So Highway to Hell. This was obviously the very last album that, you know, they did with their with Angus. I'm sorry, not Angus Young on here. Wow, Bon Scott. Okay, Bon Scott died 6 months after this. You know what else found history about Bon Scott is the military didn't accept him because he was socially maladjusted. That's what they put on there, socially maladjusted. So, you know, if that's your problem, why not join AC/DC, become their lead singer, really fit in. So I get final album from, you know, Bon Scott with AC/DC. Of course, then they went on to Back in Black, but it was fun to find it in vinyl. Did I necessarily need it? Not really, but I got it. And the other one I bought when I was in there was Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap. So, you know, this was actually made in 75, I believe, though this came out in the U.S. What was it? Was done in 76, but it wasn't released in the U.S. till later on, till after Back in Black. It has this song, you know, Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap. Another one of their big balls is played all the time by them. So, you know, after Bon Scott died, it was just, you know, kind of the record company's way, well, let's cash in a little bit more on Bon Scott. People liked him, wanted to hear his voice. So they kind of reissued this thing out again, Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap. Had it in CD, not an album, saw it, gave it a buy. I enjoyed it. Okay, Donald Fagen's Night Fly. Missed this out for many years. I've seen it around for many years. You know, it took me a long time to get into Steely Dan. It wasn't until I got into jazz that I got into Steely Dan and really began to understand the intricacies that this band had, all the complex rhythms and song structures. But I never had this Donald Fagen. I had Katie did, and I believe, not Katie, one of his other solo albums. This, I believe, came out, what was it, 1982. After he did this album, he hit writer's block, and he didn't do another album for 10 years because he had severe writer's block. He played for, he helped some TV shows and some different things with some music, but he was really struggling. So, you know, this is, you know, probably considered his best solo album. If you know, it's like the last few Steely Dan albums, you know, from the late 70s. It is really such a wonderful album. Great listen to. If you like Steely Dan, haven't bought Donald Fagen. I'm probably the only one that hasn't bought Donald Fagen's album here. So shame on me, but it's The Night Fly. Almost done already. Can you believe that? Saw this in a record store. It's called The Black Swan Occasion for Song, and it's a two record set. You know, it's one of those where let's just put 3 songs on each side. Oh, well, I opened that up and look what you get, huh? Not a whole lot of anything on here. This was done in 2012, and this is an Ohio-based band. I found it. It was actually on clearance. It wasn't even open, though the cover's still kind of banged up. So I bought it, kind of a blind buy, and you know what? I did. There's nothing that jumped at me, nothing that made me go, man, I'm going to put that on again and listen to it again. So if you like the Black Swans from Ohio, this is done 2012. That's the last album that they made, and it's indie rock. It's not very, to me, it was a little mellow. Didn't do anything for me. Now, if you don't have this, I just don't know what's wrong with your record collection. Okay? The Dudley Moore Trio, and it's Genuine Duel, Genuine Dud, okay, for Dudley Moore. Dudley Moore, for those that are young, was a movie star. He was in the movie Arthur. That's where a lot of people know him. And the movie 10. When I was growing up, Bo Derek and 10, Dudley Moore was in that. Nobody cared about Dudley Moore in that movie, let's face it. It was all about Bo Derek. But yeah, he did lots of movies in the 60s. This guy was 60s. He was part of the swing in London there. Yeah, baby. That was Dudley Moore. And he could play the piano. And so I'm at my local record store and there's this album. You know, it's Dudley Moore. You know, I have no idea what to expect off this. It's off Decca there. That's kind of nice, huh? So I bought it. What the hell? It's only money, right? And he's a good piano player. Is this the kind of jazz that's going to make you go, that was interesting. What are they doing here? Nice time signature. No, it's not. But it's fairly, you know what? He plays a very happy kind of piano. At the bass, it has a nice walking bass on there, and then there's the drums. So it's just a trio, which is why they call it the Dudley Moore Trio. Duh. It was nice. You know what? I'll listen to it again. It was not terrible. Sometimes those guys, you wonder, it's going to be really bad. Nothing amazing, but just nice piano jazz in a trio. Really did like the bass player on there. So Dudley Moore. How about that? So, some CDs here on there. I had this one. I haven't showed it. Hold on. We're going to move the cat. Hello. All right. Hold on. Had this recent box set. I don't think I've showed this one. This is Village Vanguard live sessions on there. About half price, 3 CDs. Really go into a lot of the different groups. There's a lot of Chick Corea, Dizzy Gillespie on here. A lot of people I don't know as much. Snooky Young, Bill Berry. It was just nice jazz and just, different things live at the that were done at the Village Vanguard. So kind of a neat little pickup. All right, there we go. I'm working on a kind of a different video, trying to do some editing, working with a laptop, so I may have a second one this week, which really is a lot for me to do. But this is what I listen to. I got a whole bunch of other stuff I'm still listening to, and I need to slow down, but it hasn't happened very well yet. But I hope you enjoyed this. Really check out, if you haven't, give a listen to this Lindy Ortega. She's been playing in the background the whole time, and Whitney Rose. I'll tell you, I wish I'd bought these in vinyl. They were that good. And this Chuck Berry one, it was awesome too. So something worth looking at. Have a fantastic Sunday, a fantastic week. Last day of the Tour de France. I can get my life back here and start doing more, listening to music and stuff like that. I appreciate you tuning in, all of you, and enjoy your week.